Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Any agent, person or animal or microorganism that carries and transmits a disease. Mosquitoes are vectors of malaria and yellow fever. A straight line segment whose length is magnitude and whose orientation in space is direction. A variable quantity that can be resolved into components. Genetics. A virus or other agent that is used to deliver DNA to a cell. Set used to broadcast radio or TV signals. Someone who transmits a message. Any agent, person or animal or microorganism that carries and transmits a disease. Aphids are transmitters of plant diseases. The semantic role of the animate entity that instigates or causes the happening denoted by the verb in the clause. A businessman who buys or sells for another in exchange for a commission. Any agent or representative of a federal agency or bureau. An active and efficient cause, capable of producing a certain effect. Their research uncovered new disease agents. A representative who acts on behalf of other persons or organizations. A substance that exerts some force or effect. A line traced by a point traveling in a constant direction, a line of zero curvature. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. A star that varies noticeably in brightness. A quantity that can assume any of a set of values. Marked by diversity or difference. Nature is infinitely variable. A symbol, like X or Y, that is used in mathematical or logical expressions to represent a variable quantity. Liable to or capable of change. Rainfall in the tropics is notoriously variable. Something that is likely to vary. Something that is subject to variation. The weather is one variable to be considered. Used of a device, designed so that a property, as e.g. light, can be varied. A variable capacitor. A quantity that can assume any of a set of values. A software program capable of reproducing itself and usually capable of causing great harm to files or other programs on the same computer. A true virus cannot spread to another computer without human assistance. A harmful or corrupting agency. Bigotry is a virus that must not be allowed to spread. Virology. Ultramicroscopic infectious agent that replicates itself only within cells of living hosts. Many are pathogenic. A piece of nucleic acid, DNA or RNA, wrapped in a thin coat of protein. Medicine. A person, or animal, who has some pathogen to which he is immune but who can pass it on to others. A radio wave that can be modulated in order to transmit a signal. Medicine. A person, or animal, who has some pathogen to which he is immune but who can pass it on to others. Someone whose employment involves carrying something. The bonds were transmitted by carrier. A large warship that carries planes and has a long flat deck for takeoffs and landings. A man who delivers the mail. A boy who delivers newspapers. A person or firm in the business of transporting people or goods or messages. An inactive substance that is a vehicle for a radioactive tracer of the same substance and that assists in its recovery after some chemical reaction. A rack attached to a vehicle, for carrying luggage or skis or the like. A self-propelled wheeled vehicle designed specifically to carry something. Refrigerated carriers have revolutionized the grocery business. Genetics. An organism that possesses a recessive gene whose effect is masked by a dominant allele. The associated trait is not apparent but can be passed on to offspring. A vector for delivering genes into cells. A vector for delivering genes into cells. A group of nearly parallel lines of electromagnetic radiation. A column of light, as from a beacon. Extend or spread outward from a center or focus or inward towards a center. Exposed to radiation. The syllable naming the second, supertonic, note of any major scale in solmization. A branch of an umbel or an umbelliform inflorescence. Any of the stiff bony spines in the fin of a fish. Cartilaginous fishes having horizontally flattened bodies and enlarged wing-like pectoral fins with gills on the underside. Most swim by moving the pectoral fins. Emit as rays. That tower rays a laser beam for miles across the sky. Mathematics. A straight line extending from a point. A line connecting a point in space to the origin of a polar coordinate system. A line connecting a satellite to the center of the body around which it is rotating. A vector that is the sum of two or more other vectors. The final point in a process. Occurring with or following as a consequence. The resultant savings were considerable. A vector that is the sum of two or more other vectors. Something that results. A vector that is the product of two other vectors. A vector that is the product of two other vectors. Genetics. A large vector that is made from a bacteriophage and used to clone genes or gene fragments. Any organism of microscopic size. A living organism characterized by voluntary movement. A living organism characterized by voluntary movement. All the animal life in a particular region or period. The fauna of China. A cruelly rapacious person. A living organism characterized by voluntary movement. A cruelly rapacious person. A living organism characterized by voluntary movement. Resembling a beast. Showing lack of human sensibility. Brute force. Marked by the appetites and passions of the body. Animal instincts. A living organism characterized by voluntary movement. Any organism of microscopic size. A person who is controlled by others and is used to perform unpleasant or dishonest tasks for someone else. A human being. White is an archaic term. A living organism characterized by voluntary movement. The branch of biology that studies heredity and variation in organisms. The branch of biology that studies heredity and variation in organisms.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.